Hey, this is Evan at Serra Laser. I'm going to be giving a try on this piece here to find some weld settings for you. So I'm using that LightWELD XR right now. Let me zoom in on my little settings sheet and I'll show you where I'm going to start. So I'm going to try to fuse weld this. The fitment looks good, so that shouldn't be any kind of issue. So I'm going to try a nickel alloy setting. E4 is my base setting there. It looks like this is close to being 16 gauge material, so I'm probably going to try somewhere in between these two settings. Let me zoom in here for you. So nickel alloys, E4, somewhere in between 3 and 600 watts. I'll probably start at about 450 and see how that works. So E4, make sure that's right. Yeah. E4, 450. So I'm going to head on over to my machine. I'm going to set this to E4. I have nitrogen gas set up, 450 watts. Nitrogen gas is on. So I'm going to turn to my welding area. I'm going to fuse weld this so I don't need the wire welder attachment on there. And for the inside corner, I like to use this nozzle. For the outside corner, I'm probably going to use the fork nozzle to kind of straddle that outside corner there. But I'm going to start with the inside one. Let me go ahead and put my welding helmet on. Let's give this a try.
Probably a rotary would be a real good way to do this. I'm just going to see if I can get the settings right by hand first.
I just went from one tack to the next. And that seems like it gave me a really good result, actually. We were getting just about the right amount of penetration there. I'll probably chuck it up on the rotary to do this part, but it's going to be weird chucking up this angle with the setup that I have, so I'll just do this one by hand.
Try to stay out of the camera. It's kind of difficult. Apologize if I get in the way a little bit. Difficult to keep the proper angle as you go around a circle sometimes, so I'm trying to make small sections of weld. That way I can kind of fudge the angle just a little bit, but still being close enough to where it's going to work good. Ideally, you'd want to kind of maintain the same angle all the way around, but without the rotary, be a little bit tricky. Sometimes with good fixed string, it'll help out.
All right, so that's welded all the way around. As you can see, we have pretty consistent penetration there. If I needed to touch up some spot, for instance, this looks fine, but if I wanted to touch that up, I'll just go right back over that little spot. Okay. Then I'm going to move on to the outside corner portion of this. While I might be able to use this tip, it probably worked pretty good. The tack welds can be a little bit cumbersome. So I'm going to start with this and then just
See how it goes, but then I'll switch to that fork tip probably at some point. Unless this works out really well, in which case I'll just keep going.
Yeah, so I'm going to switch over to the fork tip just because going over these tacks is going to be a little tricky. So for the fork tip, something to consider is that the focus point is at the end. So when the material protrudes inwards of the tip, we're going to need to compensate the focus a little bit. If you look here and you loosen this collet, there's notches on the nozzle for those 1 millimeter increments. However much the material protrudes inboard, I'm going to guess 3 millimeters on this. I'm going to pull that out 1, 2, 3 millimeters to compensate the focus.
Going over those tacks could be one of the trickier parts. You might even suggest kind of sanding those down before welding.
All right, let's see how that looks. Pretty good. Looks like I was a little off here. I know the joint fitment kind of changed throughout, so I'm just going to go over that again. Look for any more areas like that. Right here, it looks like it might use a little bit. But overall, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to call that a success there. So we got good penetration most of the way around there. The consistency of my speed is really going to alter that. But overall, I think that came out pretty well. Again, the fitment consistency and the speed consistency is what's going to make the result look a little bit smoother. A rotary would provide a much more consistent result, but as I mentioned, it's kind of weird to fixture this up unless you had a jig that would grab onto here somehow. Okay, so that's it. My settings there, I didn't change them because it seemed to be working pretty good. I'm just going by the chart there, so I am using E4, 450 watts. My nitrogen is at 25 psi, and yeah, thank you.